One of the questions that came up in a recent Q&A I held this week was about how much time coaches should actually spend on marketing. The person asking the question had heard me say somewhere between 60 and 80% of a coach's time is often spent on marketing, and around 20 to 40% of their time is spent on actually coaching clients. And understandably, they wanted to understand what I meant by that. And I completely get the concern because we go into coaching because we love coaching people and we don't often love marketing. So, if most of my time is spent marketing, will there be actually enough coaching work and money by the end of those coaching hours? And it was a great question because I could have read it in so many different ways, but actually what she really wanted was reassurance that it was normal that it was taking her so long to market her business. When we train as coaches, we often don't hear about this side, and there aren't many coach training organizations that really say what a steep learning curve it is after your qualification to learn the business side so you actually get a diary full of coaching sessions. So, depending on where you are in your journey, if you are starting out, this might be new to you. If you've been going for a while, you will know that it's a very different thing building a coaching business than doing your coaching qualification. So, let's really talk about that large proportion of your time that will need to be spent on marketing activities so you actually get to help people to discover you, understand what you do, and begin to trust you and ultimately buy from you. Marketing isn't just posting on LinkedIn. When I talk about marketing, I'm including things like creating those posts, yes, commenting on others' posts, maybe speaking on podcasts, maybe writing up your website. Essentially, all of the admin and the learning that you do in your business, other than the work in those coaching sessions. All of the things that will create visibility in your business because visibility creates opportunities. If you imagine a 20-hour working week, which is essentially what I do because I do school hours, and that's really common for many of my clients too, then how about thinking about 12 hours of that week being marketing, admin, messing around with your website, writing posts, scrolling on social media, all of the things that we need to do to market our business and engage with others, and maybe 8 hours of actual coaching clients. I asked in the chat of this Q&A that I did if that was others' experience, and everybody said, yes, it's such a relief to hear someone say it out loud because I think everybody thinks that everyone else has got a diary full of coaching clients. And actually, most of the time, people are spending a lot of work getting those coaching clients in the door. Your job is to create those conversations that will eventually bring clients in. So start to see marketing as part of your business. I honestly see it as part of my mission. I get to change people's lives through this podcast. I get to have an impact through posts I share and different marketing classes that I run, just like I did last week. So the more you can begin to practice marketing, the more you will actually love sharing your message, getting clearer on your own point of view, and being a way to really express yourself. If you get that marketing right, you will get those coaching clients in the door, do the work you want to do, gain experience, gain case studies, gain confidence in the process. But those first few clients require a lot more proactive reach than many people expect. Something else that came up in the Q&A was the feeling that LinkedIn was sometimes full of other coaches, and that can certainly happen because we are the ones posting and commenting to grow our businesses. And social platforms tend to show us people who are similar to ourselves. And they also know about the algorithm, so they'll show you the stuff that they know that you are interested in. One helpful thing that I showed them is to curate your LinkedIn feed by creating a filter to choose the companies and the types of people that you want to engage with. If you start engaging with other companies and other things that you don't normally see in your LinkedIn feed, and then your feed will actually be filled with people that you want to engage with, as well as obviously the other coaches that you want to support as well. So do use that trick. You can Google exactly how to do that, or actually you could message me and I can send you a short video I have on how to create that filter to curate your LinkedIn feed. One last thing that coaches mentioned is that marketing can feel uncomfortable. It often feels like self-promotion. But when you think about marketing through a slightly different lens, it becomes so much easier. Marketing at its best is simply sharing ideas that help people to think differently about their situation. When I teach email nurture sequences, for example, I teach about changing people's beliefs so they line up with the beliefs that they need to have to change their situation. So, for example, if someone doesn't believe that there is such thing as school hours, term time only work, then they won't come and work with a career coach because they'll think there's nothing else I can do. I just need to slog it to London and back again, and that's all there is to it. So if in your marketing you can share examples of what is possible, slowly, they change those beliefs, just like I did. And I'm so grateful to have seen people's free marketing and seen somebody say that she had a term time only, school hours only business, which opened my mind to be able to create my own. So that's the power of marketing. I'm like here today living my dream business, my dream life, because someone was kind enough in their marketing to show me that that was possible. So think about how you can change your clients' lives. What do they need to believe in order to get closer to what they want? So maybe they think they're not a natural leader. How can you show them examples of other leaders? Like years ago, I often joke that I thought of a leader was a man in a grey suit that was like 50 plus, because that was my experience of what a leader was. So when someone once called me a leader of my group and my community, I was really shocked because I didn't match up to that vision in my head of a leader. So how about you go out there, if you're a leadership coach, for example, and show them what leadership really is. It's just being someone to aspire to rather than someone dictating the rules, which is something that many of us have in our heads about leadership. The final point is that marketing results rarely happen instantly, and you don't always hear the results of your amazing marketing. People need to see your ideas multiple times before they feel familiar with your work. They also don't always tell you that things make a difference. So, for example, this month I'm running a podcast review competition, and hearing the amazing impact that this podcast has had from people that I had no idea had been listening. So, like I say, you don't always get to hear the results of your work, but just slowly start to build that trust that is happening and let those results compound and build your confidence. Continue to show up long enough for people to really understand what you do and to get to know you. If you are listening to this and thinking, I didn't train as a coach so I could spend my life marketing, then I completely hear you and I know the feeling. But the goal isn't to market 80% of your time forever. The goal is to build enough visibility and relationships that your pipeline becomes steady. And once that happens, you will be able to shift that balance naturally down towards more delivery and less marketing. So if you are a qualified coach building your business and you want practical guidance on the actions that lead to clients, I've created a really simple resource called 12 Ways to Get Paying Coaching Clients. It's not talking about all the different ways you can post, but it's talking about 12 ways that you can get clients today if you actually open the document and take those actions. So do grab the link in the show notes, and I hope it helps you get a client today. And please do get in touch with me if it does. I would love to hear your results. So thank you for being here today. It was so good to spend the time with you. And like I say at the end of every episode, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I have a mass of free resources on my website, joannalottcoaching.com. That's Joanna with an A and Lott with 2 T's, joannalottcoaching.com. And I'll also put links in the show notes below. Let me know if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend, and leave me a review, and I will personally thank you for that. Remember to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Get into the arena, dare greatly,